Mine was quiet as well, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Mine was quiet as well. Time for reflection.
It's time for reflection, eh?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks. Very nice, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you looking forward to the LEKGOTLA?
Yes, yes, I do. You look very nice.
Thank you very much. I'm dressed up for the LEKGOTLA.
Dressed up for the
Yeah, I looked around to check if I have something very much close to my culture and my tradition, but I couldn't find something closer, but thought this will do. Prof, Prof, we can't see you. We only see you a little bit. So can you come to the middle of this and maybe lift your chair a little bit up because you're very low. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Morning, Esme.
Welcome. We are live, Prof. We're just greeting the listeners. So that's why I want to make sure that the listeners can see you. At the moment, we can only see your head.
Okay.
If you don't mind lifting your chair up a bit, or maybe bring your camera, the camera of the screen, or yeah, that's much better. I'm with Esme here, and we're just talking about how the Heritage Day was yesterday.
How are you, Cecil?
Good, thanks, Esme. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Yeah.
Good. The first hour, Prof, as you know, like the traditional LEKGOTLA way, is the hour to connect, checking in and connect, and finding out how we try to be at the same energy level. So, yeah, we want to hear from you how you're doing.
Yeah, no, I'm keeping well, thanks. You know, with these WhatsApp messages, somebody sent me a video from, Limpopo,
Yes.
where they used to call the Naga, this Sepedi dance.
Yes, I saw that video, I think.
Yeah, and because of the cosmopolitan nature of Tembisa, it took me back to, the days when I was growing up. Every Saturday, Sunday, you'd listen to this music.
You go to watch Diva.
Hey.
Explain to Esme what Kiva is and Dinaga is.
It's a very, for want of a better way to explain, because I'm Southern Sotho. That's Sotho Rahobela, but it's a dance that is unique to the Bapedi.
The Bapedis.
Yes, and then they've got flutes and a whole orchestra really with different instruments.
Yeah.
And then the drum, the cowhide drum. And then of course,
and it's quite very intense, that dance, Prof. You have to be fit.
Yes, exactly. You could see that. I mean, I was looking at those dance moves that no. Guys my age, I think we are past that.
Yeah. I'm asking in the chat, I'm asking if there's anyone who knows the Naga and Giva who can chat back with us. Yeah.
No, but a very fascinating thing. And just this,
I think I've seen that video because they was shared with me as well. The guy was tumbling on top of the drum, and as he was doing that, the others were so hyped up and dancing and dust all over, and it was quite the celebratory mood.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. No, it's a fascinating thing. Yeah, but just to see again, the recalling of those symbols and rituals that were uniquely African,
Yeah.
That are now celebrated.
Yeah. No, it was a beautiful day yesterday. I spent a lot of time on the line as well. uh, cutting. I'm checking some of the postings that people were doing of their Heritage Day celebration.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Simon Mashala here is acknowledging he knows Kiva from Jen Fest.
And then ask me, how was your day yesterday?
I was enjoying watching everyone celebrating. I was on social media. It was quite nice to see how people celebrated in different ways.
Mm.
Yeah, some really dressed up. Some did the South African bride thing with a flag.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
It will be wonderful that even if we go to the park and do a bride, that we showcase these symbols partition to remind ourselves of where we come from, who we are.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
The Basotho, Prof, are very much traditional as well. Their bands, I like their bands. They normally carry a knobkiri and then the Basotho hat and the
Yes,
blanket.
yes, yeah.
And then the Batswanas, man, the Batswanas, they're just beautiful. And of course, if you go to the Nguni side, the Zulus have got it in themselves.
Mm. Yeah.
Maybe Simon is saying that next year, maybe when we celebrate our 25th anniversary, celebrate it with Kiva. Absolutely, I agree. Yeah, wonderful. So we just waiting for our other three colleagues, and a few guests, and we're going to start with the introductions and forward looking in terms of what we are going to cover. I have a booklet of mindfulness here. I'm going to keep on reminding ourselves that we must be fully present and be mindful. And a couple of quotes from diversity and work that Prof and I did. So it's a great day. Prof, do you have any surprises up your sleeves? What you want to touch on today?
Yeah, I wouldn't call them surprises, but perhaps reflecting, I picked up on two Sepedi idioms.
Yeah.
And I think that's I want to use them as my entry point.
Yeah.
But which are very sexist, as me. One of them says, a man is like Jew, he drops at night, sort of absolving men from accountability that don't ask a man where he comes from at night. He can come at any time.
Yeah.
He can come at any time because he is like Jew,
Oh my word! And how did you find that?
No, I think it makes the point that it is these men who are formulating these proverbs and idioms, and then
The idiomatic expressions.
yeah,
They instead of engaging with you in a conversation, Esme, they will then drop an idiomatic expression, and then you will understand the message. And
Oh,
so and that's a way of justifying sometimes certain things. But yeah.
yeah. Imagine, Jew, you can't stop, isn't it? At night, it just comes down. So
Yeah.
when he says, "I'm like Jew," don't ask the Jew where it comes from when it falls at night.
and how are women dealing with that now in this modern age?
No, I don't think your generation will allow. But our mothers took it in their stride, and our grannies. And the other one, I think it's where they say, if cattle are led by a heifer, they are bound to go astray. Whereas when they are led by a bull, they won't go astray. Just that kind of mental mindset
Yes.
tells you where we come from.
Yeah, yeah.
Which side are you located?
You're saying?
Which side are you located in South Africa?
Oh yes, in Gauteng, not far from the OR Tambo. I'm about 10 kilometers from OR Tambo, in a place called Kempton Park. Yes.
Yes, you lived here all your life in Gauteng?
Yes, let me say the better part of it. The better part of it. It was Tembisa, and then went to the north, where I did my undergraduate studies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then from there, of course, some bit of spells in the US and the UK, scholarships and stuff like that.
Awesome. That's awesome. How did you find the UK?
Yeah, the short days in winter, where the sun sets, and the biting colds,
Yes.
reminded me of the beauty of home.
George is saying here, being led by a heifer versus being led by a bull. Which pack do you follow? Thank you, George.
Yeah. No, but that's,
Prof, we keep on losing you. Your face keep on disappearing. Are you using your cell phone?
No. I'm actually at the desk.
Your camera is keep on missing you.
Yeah. This is where I operate and work, most of the time. I'm hoping I can Is it okay here?
Yeah, we can see you, but we can only see your face. Maybe you are too close to your laptop. That's why we can only see your face. Obviously, we don't want to see your entire room wherever you are.
Yeah. Now let me try lifting it.
Yeah, chair up a bit. Yeah, you welcome colleagues to drop some points, some notes in the chat box for our viewers. If you have some things that you want them to expect from your case study, Esme, I'm sure there is a lot of expectation to hear. How do you manage diversity in the what do you call I want to say in the sheep, but in the crews, what do you call them, sheep, or do you just say in what do you call them? That space, what do you call? You surely you can't say, yeah.
You call it a cruise line.
On the cruise line.
Yes.
Yeah. Welcome, Abdul.
Thanks.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you this morning, everybody?
We are very well and happy to have you. It's a Heritage Weekend, Heritage Month. Yes. Yesterday it was a Heritage Day, so we are just sharing some few things about our cultures. And by the way, we are live, and there are some listeners and viewers on the line that are also indulging in our conversation, our taking in hour. How was your Heritage Day?
Well, I stayed at home working.
Yeah.
I was just working, busy, trying my best, and leaving the rest to God.
You didn't make some reflections about your journey of life and growing up and your culture. I remember you must be living in many cultures, because my understanding, my knowledge of you is that you are very well traveled.
Yes, you know, when you come from different cultures and exposed to different settings, you come to appreciate who people are and why we are created to be. You know, if you have the tendency normally is to believe that you are the best in everything. But when you have traveled, you appreciate that no, you are because of others. And that's for me is the most important thing when it comes to cultural issues. You don't judge, you put your biases aside and appreciate what is around you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And which South African cultures have you had the opportunity of actually experiencing closely? When I say closely, it's like me spending going to a African's wedding, you know, of my friend in Pretoria, and it was like completely different to the way we do weddings. And I had to sit next to someone and say, "What is this now all about?" You know.
You know, I normally say
lightly.
I normally say to people that I'm a Transkeian. Not from Eastern Cape, but Transkei, because essentially that's where I grew up.
Oh yes.
From 1986, 87, I was in Tata until 1994. Went to Durban from 94 to 96. 97, I spent the whole of it in Mafeking, and since then I've been in Gauteng. So I've been exposed. Then I got co-opted into the Spedi culture for
That's my culture. I'm just saying, wow. That's
Yes, I got. I'm a Pedi by proxy. So so you appreciate, yes. Then at the same time, you can't forget that you are also Ugandan by birth.
Yes. And you went what age did you leave?
No, I was 24, 25.
Oh yeah.
I've been here since the age of 24.
Yeah. So that your foundation is made from that culture then.
Yes.
Wonderful. Prof is a Sotho speaking who speak my language better than I do. I don't know how he got it. Maybe Prof, you may want to tell us how so. I mean, you are so fluent in Spedi that people may tend to think that you are actually a Mupedi.
Yeah, two things, Sam. You know, I had a bosom friend who came from Hamamabolo, so we spent a lot of time together. And then, of course, you know, having studied at the then University of the North, also gave one exposure to the Sepedi people. So that's where I picked up, you know, the Sepedi language.
But also having studied at the University of the North, Tafurop, as we used to call it, you can't escape being among the Barbadies.
Yes, and picking up Chivenda and you know, fascinating mix.
Yeah. You know. When we grew up, we did not realize how diverse the country is. But when you talk of Limpopo, if you are a Mopedi, you talk as if the only language spoken there is Sepedi. If you are a Venda speaking, you're Muvenda, you talk as if the only language is. But there's one tribe and that Venda that actually are so fluent in all the languages that are spoken in the Limpopo province. I'm actually feeling guilty because they will meet us halfway. You know, we will have a trouble of having to engage with them because they will just switch over and speak your language. But I can't switch over into them. You know, I can hear it, but I'm not. I cannot be as fluent as they will be in my Sepedi language. Yeah, Mike, we want to see you. Welcome.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, we just see your name and how are you, Mike?
Yeah, I'm doing well, and how are you?
We're very well. Welcome. How was your Heritage Day?
Yeah, it was quite, I would say, busy because
I know you were studying.
Yes, I was busy with my studies and everything, so it was quite an indoor thing, you know.
Yeah. Great. Welcome. Are you looking forward to the LEKGOTLA?
Definitely. I'm looking forward to the huge day of diversity and inclusion.
Yeah. Growing up at Rampashele, the home of the Baroka,
yes.
what is ringing in your mind when you reflect back culturally?
Basically, it's how people are doing things culturally, type of thing. How barerang marali in my home language, and negotiating lobola and their beer, you know, and how they dance. So basically, that's how the culture is being restored.
Yeah, wonderful. We're waiting for Queen, and then we will start. My plan is that by 5:30 we can start looking forward to our lineup for the day and also introducing ourselves to our viewers out there. So I can see I'm the only one who's having some tea. Are you not having something to drink?
You have not provided.
You haven't ordered, Abdul.
We thought you were going to provide tea.
I'm not like Amazon. When the moment they see you online, then they sell something to you. You know, I was reading about the culture of Amazon. You know, organizational culture and the leadership principle. And then I understood what they do really. Apparently, their leadership principle number one is customer centric. And when they see a customer, they want to serve. So Abdul is expecting that from. Mike, have you touched base with Queen so that we can start?
Yes, I did, and she said she'll join in a moment.
Okay. All right. So in 3 minutes' time, we'll start. I have this pocket book of mindfulness. I'm being challenged because it has been a busy week. So I want to remind myself that I must be fully present. And they have some few quotations here. I don't know who of you practice mindfulness, but it's a very powerful tool. Whenever you find yourself drifting, you must ask yourself, why are you drifting away? Is it because the topic is not appealing to you, or is it because you have got certain thoughts that are stealing your attention away from you? So I'm going to remind myself as we go along, but I'm really looking forward. This is our annual topic, Abdul, diversity management. But this one, I think, is going to be in a style, if I may say so, because we are not just talking to ourselves, we are talking to a bigger audience out there. So we must keep in mind, I'm checking the chat box so that I can pick up some messages. Welcome, Queen.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm perfect, thank you. I'm enjoying my long weekend.
Yeah? Wow. Did you enjoy your Heritage Day?
I did. I got to connect with my sisters. We had a heritage with my 3 sisters and my 1 brother.
Wow. Did you connect physically?
Yes, we went. I visited my big sister, Abu Sisel.
Okay.
Wow. Which part of the country is that?
No, just here in Centurion. No, it's just a luncheon and I came back home.
Wow. That's good. Good. So was it to celebrate Heritage Day or you were just catching up?
We were just catching up. This was the 4th time we met since lockdown.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, welcome. We are live. We are connected with a couple of our viewers. So feel free to drop any messages in the chat box if you see them. The first hour of the Lekgotla is exactly this. And sometimes when people are visiting our Lekgotla for the first time, they will say, is this how it is? Are we going to spend the whole day just chit-chatting? I said, no. The first hour is called networking, connecting, chatting, talking about everything there is to talk about. So we are about to start. We were just waiting for you in terms of this hour's agenda. So we're going to reflect a little bit, body, mind, and spirit, the coaching way. A couple of you are coaches here, so the coaching way, we just want to check body, mind, and spirit. How do we feel? Greet the viewers out there. Let's not talk to ourselves. Let's talk to our viewers out there, those who are tuned in. And then, of course, tell them a little bit about yourself. Tell them a little bit about what you do and the topic that you are going to be addressing today. And what they can expect from your insights, So that's the whole idea of the first hour. We have planned to have 30 minutes in between the themes to allow our viewers to grab a cup of coffee, to reorganize their thoughts, drop messages, questions, and also transition from this section to the other section. You realize that we have staggered our themes and sections in times that are exact. So if it's the time to start a new segment, we will be kicked out of the studio if we were to stay longer. So that's why we have the 30 minutes in between. Good, let's check in and then I will then give a context of the Lekgotla. Body, mind, spirit. Maybe let me start. I'm going to confess that because of having to do a lot of preparatory work for this special kind of Lekgotla, I did not sleep enough and I was quite nervous, thinking that maybe I will be struggling to be awake. So body-wise, I was worried that my body might not be able to carry me, but I'm feeling great right now, fully present, so I don't need to do some mindfulness practices in the middle of our session. I'm fully present, physically fit, and excited, looking forward to the session. In terms of the mind, to be honest, my mind is preoccupied by the topics that you have lined up. So I'm very much thinking of what you have up your sleeves since we last met and planned for this session. I know what we discussed, what we said we were going to share, but I'm just preoccupied with the thought of, I wonder what angle is Queen going to come from? What angle is Esme going to come from? What Prof is going to, I know Prof very well. I facilitated a series of diversity management and inclusion sessions with Prof at various clients. And I know how his style, and I hope that will come out. I have expectations, Prof. And then, of course, my friend Abdul, management of diversity versus leadership of diversity. Greatly excited indeed. Spirit, I must say, I've been doing quite a lot of spiritual work recently, and I'm very, very glad that of the body, mind, and soul, spirit equation, this is one part of the equation that I used not to be feel good about it. But I think I got it right now. I'm doing a lot of mindfulness practices. I do a lot of journaling, and as far as also reading the scriptures and playing a lot of gospel music. And it helps me. I was even wondering, asking myself that I should have started this long time ago. You know, there were times where I was feeling very heavy, and now if I don't reflect and don't pray, I feel like I can't even go to bed. So I'm glad. That is the state where I am, body, mind, and spirit. Yeah, who wants to follow? Yes, Queen.
Thank you. I'll go next. Thank you, Sam. Body, I'm exhausted. I know that I've been working since lockdown, haven't taken my normal breaks that I normally take to just go and replenish. So I am exhausted physically. Mind, it's a mixture of anxiety and excitement. Because I don't want to let the listeners down, and because this is a very sensitive topic, and I want to make sure that I do justice and that everybody who tunes into my session gets the value that they need. So just making sure that I'm aligned, and so excited and anxious. And then spiritually, there's a tinge of connection that then invites anxiety, especially when we talk about heritage. And yesterday I was looking at, when I was watching the news, I also saw the protest for global warming. And with those people wearing red to show the global warming, for me, it really hit me. It made me realize how the holistic heritage and our responsibility to the holistic heritage. And just the sadness that we don't seem to get our act together to cherish our heritage. And what is the possible outcome when we don't do that? So that's what I had, what I had going through my mind last night as I was going to sleep, and just wondering whether God is not completely disappointed with us. And that's my check-in. Thank you.
Yeah, indeed. I followed those demonstrations as well, and I think it's an important thing to do because these are the type of demonstrations that are meant to create awareness in us about issues that we are confronted with. And demonstration is not necessarily to be viewed as being negative. It's to send a message and create the awareness. And I'm very glad that we do that, because otherwise we can easily forget. And they're saying that after COVID, climate disasters are likely to be the next big challenges that we are going to be facing. And we can't pretend that we are not seeing and we are not hearing what the entire world is saying. And we don't know the magnitude of it, what it's going to become. People are saying, yeah, we are in South Africa, we never have hurricanes and we never have tornadoes. Yeah, tornadoes, but we will have our own kind of challenges. I mean, right now, I mean, we had a very cold beginning of spring. I couldn't understand what was going on. It shows that there is change. Yeah, thank you so for reminding us on that one.
Shall I go next?
Prof?
Thank you and greetings again. Body-wise, I'm struggling a bit. You know, since COVID, you know, the body has never been the same. But I feel privileged that I survived it. When I was taken in, you know, I had an oxygen level of 66, and the doctor thought, you know, these are my last minutes. But by grace, you know, I'm here living to tell the story. But post that, you know, the body has never been the same. You battle here and there, but like the man of old said, you know, I feel all this pain and thorns, but my spirit remains resilient by grace. So that's where the body is. But the mind feels privileged all the time that after what has been a long haul, you know, one is still privileged to read, to write, to engage. And I'm thinking of that Greta Thunberg, that young lady who tells the oldies, you know, about climate change, that you guys have messed up the world and you are on your way out and you are leaving us in a mess. And I'm looking back to Al Gore, and for me, perhaps there's a sense of disappointment of, you know, why such crucial messages always have a disconnect. You know, I don't know what is it that we need to shake us into reality. You know, almost at the same time, there are thoughts around that, you know, the grassroots operations, etc., etc. So there's a sense of disappointment when you raise, you know, the whole thing that look at where Al Gore started, I mean, almost 30 years ago, and yet the conversations seem not to be moving. And I guess, you know, also one is now at the stage of life where one realizes that inevitability knocks daily, so that connects you to your spiritual self, to say, you know, if the battery goes now, you know, what is one's destiny. But to almost counteract that morbid thought is the appreciation of grandchildren that I've been privileged to see and interact with. You know, when I spent a little bit of time with them, I get so recharged. I even forgot that, you know, there is this work to do today. I said, look, I've prepared. I'm going to present my authentic self, and I'll leave the rest to the audience and to God. Thank you.
Wow. Powerful, Prof. Thank you so much. You know, is it Richard Barrett or the guy who speak about the value-based leadership, Abdul? He took the Maslow's hierarchy of need and expressed it higher up, and there is the you know, the contribution to the community. That's the ultimate that we strive to achieve, to focus on. When you are a leader, you don't just lead within your organization, but you lead beyond. And as a citizen, as a living being, one thing you strive for is to say, what is my contribution to the society? And that is powerful, because then every day is very important. Every minute is very important. actually you look forward to that end, Prof. I think I've done so much enough that I can't wait for my end to enjoy the what people will be saying about me. I don't know whether it's realistic, but I just, when I read that model, you know, it's like nothing else will really make you happy, not even money. But it's almost like the legacy that you leave is what really you work for. And it makes you realize that you might be gone, but you'll be here when you have really left something for the society. And I think that, to me, I find it quite very powerful. I thought Maslow's hierarchy, once you leave that, what's the last top one? Is it self-esteem? When you reach that, it's like you are done. But now he said, Then he took it further. I said, oh my goodness, I didn't know that it could be something else you strive for. And that is difficult. Not every one of us will achieve that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You just brought it up, Prof. I'm just edifying. Great.
Myself, I went through COVID. I think I was one of the first people to get COVID in the whole country without even knowing that I had COVID. That was about February, March last year. And it was testing because you feel you don't have a breath, but you don't know what is actually happening. You can't even hear about people saying about it. The impact was great in the sense that even my wife, a medical doctor, could not tell what is happening to me. That's the situation I was faced. She's just breathing in a funny way. She's asking, but you can't breathe. And I'm saying, no, I can't breathe. I don't know what's happening to me. That's the situation I've been through. The impact has been such, it has left me with headaches, consistent headaches, which never stop, extremely painful. In between July, my 8-year-old girl gets COVID. The 11-year-old also gets COVID. That's the situation I was faced with. But for the girl, you could never tell whether she's sick or not. But the boy was very sick. So you learn to appreciate life. And I've been saying to people, for believers, during this period, if you believe you have more than a day, you are living in a false world. You take it by the day. You don't know whether you are going to have it next day, tomorrow. And that's how I decided to live. Spiritually, it has helped me. It's about what can I do for others. It's not about me anymore, because whatever you have goes with your demise. But that which you have inculcated in others stays, and people will appreciate for generations if need be. And that's how I live. That's how my spirit is. So in terms of body, the body is still weak. Mind, it's very sharp. To the extent that during the COVID, for about 3 years, I was mandated by some professors, because we saw, as I said, we saw a gap in leadership training in the country and globally. We looked at leadership training. They say this is for example, they say a degree, a doctorate in leadership, but the component is managing leadership. It's not leading change. The content is managing change, not leading change. They say managing in a crisis, not leading in a crisis. Then you ask yourself, but this leadership, when the degree is at a doctoral level, the conceptualization should be about, okay, how do I move beyond managing into leadership? And it was so challenging because, to me, I was given the task, and others were just proofreading, because it's for somebody who has audited before. If you will understand, you look at assets, for example, motor vehicle or vehicles. When you are presenting them in the financial statements, you just put a figure, they're worth this much. But when you are in the back auditing, you audit it from, for example, two main perspectives. Do these things exist? Because the testing of existence is different from completeness, because for different reasons, somebody may say you undervalue for a certain reason, because maybe you want to go to a bank, maybe you want to give a certain, so you get those things. The approaches are different, and because the approaches are different, but focused on the same thing, you get to understand even leading and managing change, we come from different angles of the same thing. So where does leading change start, and where does managing change start and end? So essentially, you get into this, but it was a terrible setting because you are venturing into a territory which has not been ventured into. Sincerely, we went through all programs in the whole country. No single university offers a doctorate in leadership, which approaches it from a leadership but not management perspective. We went to globally to Harvard, different universities. They all approach leading from a management perspective. So it's like saying for you to become a leader, you must be a good manager. So that's the challenge which I've had, and it has helped me. That's why it has kept my mind running. I used to say that as Abdul, you wake me up at 3 in the morning and you look for a strategy, and I'll give it to you. So I have come to believe similar leadership, you can live and think, drink and sleep leadership more than.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have a different way of saying it, to say, as a leader, you must stay a scholar of leadership or a student of leadership perpetually, because every day there is something new to learn about being a leader. I am intrigued by what you are working on. I'm sure that is definitely going to come out in your contribution later today, but I think we will need a special session, a special LEKGOTLA on that topic alone. It looks like, no, Mike, that's very appealing. What, don't you think so?
Yeah.
Yes, it is appealing. It is appealing.
Yeah, I can see the energy. I can sense the energy. I can feel the energy in him, that this is a subject to be brought back and be engaged on. We'll talk to Abdul about that. Are you done, Abdul? Yeah. Let's give Esme also to check in.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, hi everyone. In terms of body, hi everyone, audience, greetings, colleagues. In terms of body, I must agree with Queen. I am exhausted. I've been running on a treadmill like forever, and there's no break in like taking a weekend off or a week off. It's just been a roller coaster. So the body needs some break. It's so hard to take a break from work, because when you come back, the workload is more, and then you are more overwhelmed. So I need to manage to find that gap. It's since COVID where this treadmill has been starting. And also when I used to travel a lot, like I said, for over 18 years in different countries, and it was exciting, it was easy, and I enjoy it. And now every second week I travel to Cape Town to do leadership training for school principals and the school leadership teams. And I am exhausted just from a weekend, Friday, for the whole weekend coming back. It's a big thing to leave the home just to travel. It has become such a big deal. So I just need to get out of this whole COVID indoor lockdown mode and start traveling and moving around. The body must become more used to it and adjust. In terms of mind, my mind is very busy. I'm always learning. I keep my mind very engaged with how things can be done better and how things can be done differently. So in terms of my mind, I think since I went through the Enneagram experience and now doing Enneagram teams in terms of team cohesion and team dynamics, it sort of helped me a lot with anxiety and those kind of emotions, because the higher I felt the level of self-awareness I've experienced within myself, the more I manage challenges or indifferences or diversity or things that are different from me. I used to get angry, frustrated when things don't go my way, but the more my level of self-awareness became greater, my triggers, my defense mechanisms, my worldview, and why I'm triggered, the moment I come to accept that came to the surface, it decreased anxiety, frustration, because I understood myself better and it made it easier to understand other people. So in terms of mindfulness, that has been great for me, a great practice of reflection and journaling and understanding myself in a very deep way. Spirituality, yes, like Sam, I love my gospel music. It's the first thing in the morning. Otherwise, I won't be in a good state. And I don't listen to any other music. I constantly have to, even when I have to do creative work, I need gospel music. I just feel there's a presence, a revelation, and makes me see deeper things that's not on paper, that's not on Google. Yeah, that's very important to me. But I need to put more effort and energy in that particular regard by becoming intentional about it. But generally, I am well. I'm excited for today. I am not anxious. I am not nervous at all because I will be speaking from my heart and I will be speaking from experience. So I trust if there's something I'm not mentioning, that my fellow colleagues will poke questions to me.
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm gunning for you. I want those stories from all those multinational cruise liners to come up. And Delaney Nagola has just dropped a note to say I'm also exhausted. And I wrote back to him to say we will be energizing him with all his insights I'm going to be sharing with him. Even you, Esme, I'm sure the moment we start, that energy is going just to come. It is there inside. We're just going to invigorate it. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Thank you.
Mike, you want to check in as well?
I can quickly do that. In terms of the body, I slept quite few hours because I was busy with books and all stuff. So, but I woke up in the morning, tried to get jog so that I can be active for throughout the day. Because if I didn't do that, I was gonna be sleepy or all stuff. In terms of mind, my mind is present, always present. It depends on the associate and the people that I'm surrounded with. So immediately there pop up few things, it clicks and align with them. So that's how it is. In terms of spirituality, I'm feeling well. Spirituality, everything is in a good mood because I try to put positivity behind everything. So that's everything that is helping me to go further and have a positive spirit.
Wow. You apply positive psychology, Mike.
Yes, yes, yes.
We are moving with times. Here, a lot of professors at the psychology schools these days, the thing that is preoccupying them is this topic called positive psychology and how it can help us, deal with what we are confronted with. Prof, you studied psychology. I don't think during the times of your studies you had positive psychology as a branch of psychology.
Mm-hmm. Because at that stage, I think very, at inception almost. But I think, what is currently happening with COVID-19 and almost global trauma, psychology and psychiatry would be greatly challenged to think about, ways of coping that have hitherto not been thought about.
Great. All right. Thank you very much for checking in. Just quickly, for the benefit of those who don't understand what this LEKGOTLA is, since 2017, we have been running a series of monthly get-togethers, face-to-face then, called the COMESA LEKGOTLA Network. And these are, we pick up topics, we invite the subject matter experts. But what is important is that we have a certain methodology that we use to engage with the guests to enable the learning. And since COVID, we have been doing this virtually over these platforms. And it does look like this is the way we are going to stay. And that way it helps us reach many audiences out there. And I'm glad that we adopted these platforms, because can you imagine, we would have been without LEKGOTLA for 2 years if we did not have these technology platforms. And that means then the objectives of LEKGOTLA will not be achieved. And what are those objectives? So we use the African LEKGOTLA methodology, which has quite a very profound principles that we follow. And one of those is we learn to listen to people sharing insights without disrupting. We learn to be very good at expressing what we think, what we feel, what we sense, what we see. Holistic communication, that is one of the things. And then normally what we will do in a face-to-face LEKGOTLA, we will sit in a circle, which is what the LEKGOTLA is all about. In a LEKGOTLA, we sit in a circle, we are all equal, and we are all having a space to talk whenever the opportunity comes. And we will normally use the induku or the stick, which normally in a traditional LEKGOTLA way is the walking stick of the king. And some people in Nguni, they call it indugu, engozi. And we put it in the middle. And what that does is, if nobody get hold of indugu, that means it will be a moment of silence. So we learn to experience communication using silence. And what is powerful about that is that silence is a very powerful way of communicating with each other. Because at that moment of silence, we get connected. You feel the energy, and you are just curious to know what each one of us is probably thinking. And in many cases, you try to imagine or think of what they are thinking. And what is amazing is when we then later get the opportunity to talk and share with each other what was going on through our minds at that time when we were in a silent mode, we found that actually we were aligned. And then we start to realize that as human beings, we are nothing else but energy. We are connected in our thoughts, in our senses, in our feelings. And therefore, we learn to know that the energy at which you are sometimes is very important to the person next to you. And therefore, if you are aware of that, you are conscious of it, you will make an effort when you come together with people to make sure that you align with the energy at which they are. And that's why checking in the Lekgotla is fundamental. Because during the checking in, when you tell us what your body is communicating to you, what the thoughts you are preoccupying your mind, and where you are spiritually, we get to now empathize with you or sympathize with you. And what it does, it brings us to the level of being with you. And if we feel that you need us to lift you up, your state of being become a subject of everybody's checking in. And it's amazing at the end of the whole day that you actually walk back at the same level of energy and even having forgotten the state at which you came in. That is the objective. The other objective of Lekgotla is that those who are naturally less speakers, those who naturally speak less, in a Lekgotla, within a series of 2-3 Lekgotlas, they amazingly realize that they can actually talk. They are talkers. They don't get tired of talking. They don't get tired of generating ideas and formulating them into words. And when they start experiencing what that does to their egos, they start to realize that actually they owe it to themselves to voice out what they think and what they feel and what they do. That is another objective. The other objective is those who speak a lot. Lekgotla actually tone them down because you can't just talk unless you have Ndugu in your hand. And if you talk a lot, we will give you Ndugu. You'll talk until you are so tired. And when you finish talking, you will realize that we were attentively listening and we will engage you so deeply that you start to realize that, sure, I've been saying so much. Then you start to realize that there is also value in sometimes just taking a step back and learn to listen. Because you can't always, because you will make you run out of what to say. We give you so much space that you realize that this is really tiring. Then you afterwards will engage you on the things you have said. You start to realize that I was saying so much unnecessary, and I haven't actually learned much. So then you learn to listen. And then when you combine all this, because what we will do in Lekgotla, we'll break into mini sessions, we'll come back, and then we'll consolidate the things in the main Lekgotla, and then we'll wrap up, and you will realize that maybe you spoke 90%, but we only took 10% of your input. Then you start to realize that it's not always the person to always be the one talking. So that is another objective. But what then the other bigger objective, we remember you will have brought subject matter experts. In this case, we brought you as a diversity expert. So therefore, we also interested in the subject that you are bringing to the Lekgotla. So we'll learn the methodology of Lekgotla, but we will also learn the subject diversity management. But because Lekgotla principles makes us to be disciplined and be a good listeners and being good in engaging and sensing and feeling, we learn even much deeper because we will respond to the emotions that you show as you share with us your insights into Lekgotla. And we'll say, but Abdul, when you were talking about your experience of Lekgotla, we saw you actually sweaty and the eyes teary. Why is that so? Why are you showing these emotions when you are telling that story? And then we'll make you deeper to connect with the story you are telling us. Yeah, I know in actual fact, that was really a hurtful moment of my life. I never experienced this moment where I was discriminated against just because I'm not of this culture. And then we ask you, what did you do about it? What did you learn from that? And then you will say, yeah, I've learned that it's not a good thing to isolate and discriminate against people just because they are of a different culture. So the learning gets very deepened. So that is that. Now, we're trying to apply that in a virtual setup in here as well. As you talk, we affirm you, we engage with you, we throw it back to you. And at the end, when we go into the main lekgotla, which in this context is going to be our reflection, we'll then consolidate the learning. And the learnings become so powerful. You can imagine if you attend lekgotla every day, every month, of different subjects in this intense way, you can't help it but grow. You cannot stay in one state. You will grow, and that is basically that. And then, of course, then we look at the other things about lekgotla is that it's a community. It's a community of practice. It's a community of learning practice. And so we come here to create content. We come here to generate knowledge, but we also walk here with this knowledge. We go and try it. And because we are connected, in between, people will call each other and say, wow, that topic has really helped me at my client because I had the same case that you shared with us at the lekgotla, Queen. And that was really grateful. And that's what we are all about. It's about development and growth, not just sucking the content from the textbooks and not being able to be given the opportunity to engage with it and to see how much you actually know the subject. And then, of course, most of us, we are members of Commercial Friends and Supporters Club and we're associates. And Prof and I will tell you, every now and then we go and facilitate sessions with the clients, and then they can see that our connection is not fake. We didn't just call each other because we had an assignment. They realize that we are actually a team. We are connected. And that is the ultimate of the lekgotla when it comes to the actual value offering to the client. So therefore, it has the commercial benefit and that from that angle, and that is basically what lekgotla is all about. So I think that is what we are going to experience today, and I can't wait. I have learned, I used to talk a lot in sessions, in conferences, and lekgotla has taught me, even though I thrive it myself, but it has taught me that there is excitement in sitting back and just enjoy listening to people showcasing what they know. And I'm always looking forward to add more to what I know. And after this intro, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to listen to the stories and I'm going to poke. And I know by doing that, there's somebody out there that's listening that I will be asking the questions on their behalf, because that's another thing we do with the virtual lekgotla. We become the eyes and the ears of our virtual listeners. When we do this on a radio and podcast, we always say that when you are hosting the subject matter experts, remember you are not hosting them for yourself. You are hosting them for the listeners and the viewers. So you must imagine the type of questions that they might be asking, and ask on their behalf, and imagine them clapping hands and thank you, Sam. That was the question I wanted to ask. And that is, you can only do that if you are really connected with your listeners. That's why I'm in a chat box here and I'm chatting back to them. Thank you. We're looking forward to learning from you. It's gonna be 8 hours goes past very quickly. Believe you me, when we check out, you are going to say to me, is it over? That's how quick it goes. We're looking forward. We're going to kick off at past with Queen taking us through her topic. Queen, what is your topic?
My topic is courageous conversations in diversity and inclusion.
Wow.
And it's really identifying the intensity of communication when diversity creates discomfort. What do we do when we are uncomfortable because we see things differently? And how do we use language powerfully to manage that and mitigate the possible negative impact of the difference that shows up?
Wow, we look forward to that. Let's check out. We are going to connect again in about 15 to 17 minutes. And you know how to connect. In fact, you're connecting using the link, the different link that we gave you to our studio. LEKGOTLA is open. It's official now. We are about to start. We look forward to kick off in a few minutes. Till then.